So
How's
Steve here
everybody
with
doing?
Peter and Bairnt, the one-stop
You
crew.
are you're stuck with us, Steve.
Oh man, so
2 in a week you're with me. How about that, huh?
Well,
yeah,
hey
so
everybody, thanks for meeting us at the table live with the One Stop Co-op Shop news feed.
It is.
And
there
if
you
you
go,
don't
tie it
like
all
that
together.
title, give us a better one.
That would be pretty
Because
cool. I'd love to hear what
that's
the
that's
community has to
that's the
get.
best we got right now.
And I bet we have some pretty creative people in the community that could think of some pretty good ideas.
Yeah, I mean it's got to be better than that. That was terrible.
So yeah, this is something new we're going to try out. Where we're just going to pull up random or somewhat random, different discussion topics, and might be news related, might be just current events related, stuff like that. And yeah, we'll talk it about. And if you're on the chat, join in. Feel free to drop some links, and we'll cover them.
Yeah, and if you are chatting something to me right now, oh, I found it. Never mind. I was going to say I'm not on the chat, but I just found it, so we're good.
I gotta
Cool.
get on the chat.
Gotta do it. Doing it live.
Doing it live. Yeah, so this is very, very free form as we go about it. But anyway, we got a few things to talk about. So I think we'll just jump into it, and as people join, just feel free to ask questions. So okay, let's take a look at the first thing on our agenda. We'll talk about Descent, Legends of the Dark.
Ooh.
Wait,
So
didn't you mean Journeys in the Dark?
I know it's not exactly right. So this
Yeah,
is
so
go ahead.
go for it.
So this is like the follow up to Journeys in the Dark, I guess, kind of, but not really. This was their big announcement that I assume was going to be coming out at Gen Con this year if they had it. So they kind of did a teaser in their live stream and then eventually talked about it later. But a cooperative
By the
dungeon
way,
crawl.
worst teaser ever. If
Yeah.
nobody saw that, they just like threw it in. So it was supposed to be like, oh, we're not supposed to show this, but it like the whole stream got screwed up, so they kind of threw it in randomly in the end. Like and it was yeah, no, it was supposed to be a clever like, oh, whoops, the camera's not off, but clearly like it was pre-recorded, and so yeah, the whole joke went away. But you know,
I enjoyed it. Come on, Peter. It was pretty fun.
so what do you say, I'm a curmudgeon? Is that what's
No,
going on
I think
here?
I think you have a great. I didn't actually notice they probably used an extra camera. I thought it was actually part of the feed, but then I guess I wasn't really paying close attention. I was just more listening to it. So then when they were done, it's like, oh, I turned back and I saw it, and I was like, oh, there it is. Because yeah, like you said, I figured I was going to hear something about it, but then ta-da! Right at the very end,
Yeah.
Well, it was the worst kept secret ever that they were
it
doing it.
it
Yeah,
was pretty.
totally, totally.
It wasn't a secret.
What's up, Varega? Thanks for joining us. So yeah, we're going to be talking about various topics. If you have things you want us to talk, chat, join us, or like talk about, let us know. We'll cover it. So anyway, yeah, I totally agree with you. That teaser at the end was like, oh, so disappointing. Didn't tell us anything. But we do have an article,
Well,
and
they
they had
showed
a
the
live stream.
box. They showed the box, which was like huge,
It was really big.
Like, well, it wasn't that wide. It was like just
No, it's a
really.
big
I
cube.
mean, you can't see my other hand because it was so big. Like that's how big it was.
Yeah, I've got the box pulled up right now on our stream. So it's like, does it have a gap in the box? Is that like how it's designed, where it's got like a, I don't know, this weird like lip on it? It
Well,
seems.
a lot of those boxes do that where they don't exactly close all the way, and I think it's so
Yeah.
you can kind of get your fingers in there to like lift it up. But I mean, they've got the box shown like vertically.
Yeah.
There is zero chance you're going to put that box vertically. Everything in that thing is going to fall out and be all over the place. Like if you want to clean up your floor later today, like put that box vertically. I'd love to
Yeah.
see. All right, so that's a challenge for everybody in the Discord, everybody like listening live on the Twitch. When you get this game, put it vertically, and I want to see like pictures of the aftermath. It'll be like a Tom Vassell drop.
Yes, yes. Oh man, especially since this game is supposed to have a lot of 3D terrain in it, so I could just imagine what that mess will look like at the end. So,
Yeah, it's like
absolutely.
49 pieces of 3D terrain or something like that.
Yeah, I think it's in here someplace. Let me find it real quick. Yeah, new approach to scenario layout with 3D terrain. And what's it saying here? I know it's someplace. Um,
Well, while you're looking for it, I'll talk about a couple of things that I'm excited about, and one big thing that I'm sure we will all talk about as well. So, things I'm excited about. This is not Descent Third Edition. It's its own thing. They designed it from the ground floor up to be co-op and solo specifically, so perfect for our audience. Its release date. I just got a question from Veriga.
Yeah, very good. Yep.
Verga. Yeah, so the release date is supposed to be Q2 of next year. So who knows what that means? Anywhere from April to June of next year. So, but designed from the ground floor to be co-op and solo. It uses the app. It does integrate the app. It sounds like it's going to go a little further with the app than they've gone before because they're talking about things like dynamic bosses that do different things and they react to you. And so I'm hoping that it doesn't go too far, right? Because for me, Imperial Assault went too far where you got to like move somebody and then move them back and do this and do that. If it does that, I hope it does it in a better way than just a like list, like do step one, then do step two, then do step three. Like I hope it's more do this. Okay, I've resolved that. Now attack for this. You know, it's like a different command instead of like a list of commands. If it does that, I think it'll, for whatever reason, just simplify it so you're not reading steps. Okay, which step was I on? One, two, three. Like where am I going next? So I'm hoping if they do something like that, that it isn't that program list of stuff. So I'm excited about that. But, 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 I'm gonna get closer. $175? Are you kidding me? What? What?
It's not a big deal.
What?
It's so much money.
What?
For a dungeon crawler? Come on.
Well, I mean, to be fair, like think of all the Kickstarters you back, and think about like the core pledge, and honestly, what you wind up actually paying for it, right? It winds up being
Right.
probably close to that at some point for a lot of them.
Yes.
Well, I mean, yes, Marvel United.
Exactly.
Mhm.
$200 for a 15-minute kids game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did
No,
they ever
I mean,
say how many hours of this out of this game you can get from like a campaign playthrough? Did they ever
so
talk about
16
that?
missions. They did say that.
Okay.
And so you're assuming 2 hours per mission, right? Some might be an hour, some might be
Right.
3 hours. But I would assume 2 hours is a good estimate per mission. Certainly depending on whether you do solo, co-op, whatever. But did you guys investigate the mechanics of this one at all?
I did a bit. So
I just
getting
kind of
back
watched
to
that stream a
the
little bit, but I didn't really follow it too
well,
much.
they didn't show much in the stream. I don't
Mhm.
think they kind of
No, they
talked about it
didn't.
from a more higher level. But so yeah, getting back to that price point, it's 46 pieces of 3D terrain, which is a ton, and 40
Mhm.
miniatures. That's a combination of heroes and monsters. So there's quite a bit in there. Hey, what's up, T Clark?
Now, of course, thinking of that, you have to remember that a recent game just got shipped that's very similar to this, and that's Alter Quest, having a lot of different terrain, having a lot of miniatures. I I can't remember the price point on that, but I don't think it was $175, was it? It was like
Mm.
probably I'm guessing the base was probably 100. I'm guessing.
So, but here's the difference. Here's the difference to me. One is a Kickstarter game,
Yeah,
and the other is a retail game. And you
sure.
think it would be opposite, right? Because Kickstarter should theoretically be cheaper. But with Kickstarter, we know we're getting 572 million miniatures with it.
Yes.
Whereas when you go to retail and you go to your retail store, am I going in with $175 in my pocket? I know no one walks around with money anymore. Trust me. I am well aware that we're using credit cards. But you know what I mean? I mean, it doesn't seem like a game store purchase to me. It feels like this was Fantasy Flight's chance to go to Kickstarter or do something else, do a direct campaign, something
Mhm.
like Mechs vs. Minions. Maybe then they could even drop the price, right? Maybe it's
Sure.
$125, maybe it's $150, and we sold a lot. Or they'd be able to sell more copies of it and ship it directly out, and they'd make more profit still from doing that. It just seems like it's not the kind of game you're going to go in to your retailer. I mean, nobody's ever done it before, right? Nobody's gone to a retailer, or no game has gone to retail for $175. It's way raising the bar, like
Yeah,
way raising the bar.
totally.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, it is a core box, and I know it's a lot for it. Of course, they're going to say how much it costs to do app integration. That's going to be part of their price point. The technology and stuff behind that. And if they're putting, in theory, more into it, that, of course, is going to be a little bit higher budget. And then, of course, they're going to have expansion upon expansion upon expansion. They're not going to just stop with this. It's just like the old Descent. There's expansion after expansion after expansion. So I think I don't know. I don't have a problem with the price point because I know I'm probably still going to pick it up because I know how much I've spent on all the other dungeon crawlers I have way
Sure.
back there, that I've spent way more on almost 90% of them back there than I have on Descent on just that one box. Of course, when it's all done, I think it'll be just like buying another Kickstarter that I would have gone all in on, because I'll bet I'll get up into the $400 to $500 price point, which, not that I've ever spent that much on a Kickstarter before.
I hope no one in your household is watching this video stream right now.
Not
I'm
right
just
now.
saying.
No.
All right. Good. And don't let her know that she can watch it later.
That's
as well.
right.
That's
I
probably
wasn't
a
on
bad
a stream.
idea.
I don't know what she's talking about.
These are the temporary videos we're not going to keep, right? So
That's right. But I mean, I know it's a lot for a game, and I know it's probably, like you're saying, it's something you're probably not going to see. I mean, this would obviously never come in a Target or anything like that. This has to be in a game store. It has to be that mantelpiece game that's up there that has like a whole display for it and all this. I mean, it's, and when that, obviously it's going to do. I'm in Minnesota, so I actually get to go to the Roseville Fantasy Flight game stores, and we can see products immediately when they hit the shelf. I mean, I'm even lucky enough to, when I see it out on their website, I could go to their store and they've got like 2 copies there for me, where I can just pick it up, which is really cool. And I guarantee you, when this thing comes out, that display is going to be just out of control, and it's going to have all the things. It's going to be out to play. It's going to be an amazing thing to see, and I'll bet they sell out.
All right, I'm jealous.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, yeah. I mean, if you're the Fantasy Flight store, I'm assuming they'll sell out in their local store. But yeah, it's interesting. So you mentioned expansions, and one thing that struck me was that it's not going to be backwards compatible, which I view as a pro and a con, right?
Yeah.
Because on the pro side, well, let's start with the con. Everybody knows the con, right? I bought all this crap. I can't use it anymore. Now it's just garbage, right? We've all had games that have gotten second editions, third editions, and your first edition feels wasted at that point because any expansion that comes out in the future, you can't use it with that, right? So going forward, you feel like that older edition just doesn't carry its weight anymore. But, and this is a big but here, the pro to that is that if it is somebody new getting into this series, they don't feel like they're behind. They don't have to go track down all that old content just to catch up with everybody else who had that older content. So that 175 price point is the price point. There's no more adding anything in. Another pro for Fantasy Flight is they've always done a really good job with the app integration, and it's not that expensive to upgrade, right? From what you've got. Like maybe you're spending another $5. So if we say by the end of the year it's $200, and instead of 16 missions we got 20, 30, 40 missions, now it seems more like the price point is better, right?
Yeah. I think you are also paying for the future when you're getting that 175. I mean, and I don't mind that, like you said, I'm actually okay with not being able to use the older stuff, because if you had all that older stuff, you have to think of all the stuff they have to try to get into that app, all the different old miniatures, all the old like cards, anything, old heroes, and they'll have to have those powers and stuff that work with the new concept they're going with this thing. So I can understand why they're not going to do it, and that's totally fine. I'm totally fine not having it because I don't actually own Descent.
Well,
surprise.
it's also so different than what it is now. Like what they're talking about, the mechanics are, it's very different. I mean, the fact that you don't necessarily have a character that levels up between quests in the same sense. Like you have a build, you are building to beat this scenario, right? That's completely different than like this Descent approach, where over a course of 8 games, I get this cool sword and I can kill more guys with it or something, right?
Oh, see, I didn't realize they didn't have that constant buildup. So a couple of mechanics that stuck out to me that I did read about were, number one, you get 3 actions on a turn. But really you're only getting 2, because one of those actions has to be a move action.
Yeah.
So you're doing a move and 2 other things. One of the other actions, and I forget the name of it, but it's in that article for sure, is that you can flip over your character card and do something different. I think they got this from Marvel Champions. I mean, it's their own game, so
Ready action right? Lets you flip. Yep.
Yeah, the ready action lets you flip your character, and so you could have been a character that moved really fast before, but now you're readying and you can do a lot of damage, or you can cast extra spells, or you can do whatever. And so, you know, the thing I love about the sound of all of this so far is that it's pretty straightforward. I mean, you guys know me. When it comes to playing a game, I want my actions to be simple but impactful.
And I think Fantasy Flight Games does that almost better than anybody in any type of game they have. I mean, even Arkham, which has a lot of different more actions, they're simple, they're fast, you know what you're doing, and it gets done. And Fantasy Flight, I think, does action economy and action speed and clarity better than a lot of other games I've ever played in my life.
Well, hold on with the clarity, but all right, I'm with you.
Okay, yeah, there is a few sometimes.
Settle down with clarity, Mister.
But at least they're fast.
Rule books and facts and updates. Like I don't know about all that. So Art.
I don't know about this flipping
Yeah.
thing though, right? So like,
Oh, okay.
it sounds like it's gonna be clean, but coming from like the user experience mindset, right? It could get really annoying because it's your character card flips, but also all your equipment flips and all your powers flip and all that fun stuff. Like if you're flipping a lot of stuff through the whole game, I don't know. I'm not sure about that.
Wait, does everything flip? It's not just your character
It's
card?
not just the character. There's a. I can scroll down. There is an item in here they show. Yeah, here it is. That flips, so you flip your weapons and other stuff too, and it has a sleeve mechanic where I think you can do some like crafting. So like
Huh.
you choose one side of it to be a weapon, and you choose a different weapon on the other side. So you try and manage which weapon you're using during what type of attack and when to flip it. So like mechanically, like strategically, it sounds really cool from a like choice standpoint. But as an experience standpoint, I like the flipping. I just don't want too much of it.
Well, I mean, they took it to 11. I think that's what it
Yeah,
sounds like.
That's what I'm worried about. Yeah, that's what I'm worried
But
about.
if you're not doing it all at the same time, I think that's okay still.
True.
Like, right?
True.
If you don't have to, like, hey, I'm doing a flip. I mean, literally, you may as well just flip the table at that point. And you know, and you're good. Like, you know, that's where Tabletop Simulator really comes in. All this virtual gaming we've been doing is really going to come in handy. Hey, guys, look. So you'll be fine. You'll be fine. So what do you guys think of the artwork? Because this is I might have a controversial take here with this.
It's
Go
okay.
Go back to the characters. Go back to the characters.
Yeah, there was a bunch of the characters. Here they are, right here. Yeah, it seems. I
If
don't
I
know.
remember, nothing grabbed me out of this artwork, if I remember right.
Just seems okay.
I don't know. I think it's ugly.
I don't know.
I mean, maybe I just got used to their old artwork and a little more realistic artwork, and this is cartoony to me. Now, I don't mind cartoony either, but it's like ugly cartoony to me. I mean, I don't know.
I think the problem is maybe what
Yeah.
you're hinting at, or what I have struggled with too. Like Fantasy Flight has their brand of what do you expect from their artwork, right? And this doesn't scream that brand to me. Like I don't necessarily think it's bad or maybe even good in this case. I'm not really sure what I think about it, honestly. But it's not what I think about when I think Fantasy Flight.
It seems like they went on the cheap. They're like, we're in the middle of a pandemic. We can't pay an artist. Let's my kid's gonna draw this art.
I can see
I don't
that.
want to
Yeah,
insult the
I
artist.
think
It's
that's
not
why I
that
don't
bad,
remember
but-
it. Is I probably didn't remember the art because wasn't something that stood out to me, and I didn't really think it wasn't something that caught my eye. There's been way better games that have. I shouldn't say way better games, but there's a lot better art out there.
I'm curious, you guys in chat who are watching, what do you guys think of the art too? Is it because it's just us that kind of ho hum about it, or do you guys like it? Just let us know.
Yeah, you guys got a much better view than me. I've got
Yeah.
this like little tiny it's like my old man eyes have to zoom in. Like this is how I zoom
Enhance.
nowadays.
Is that
Like,
better?
get closer. Like, that's my old man eyes. And then I can't see anything anyway because it's too close. All right, so T. Clark, 1981. By the way, 1981. I mean, he's younger than me by a little bit. So I don't know that I'm a curmudgeon. Like, get off my lawn. You're way too young to have opinions here. 1981.
Well, you're also assuming it's his birth year, right, or whatever. So, but yes.
All right, I'm not sure how I feel about the art. It looks like a poor man's Mike
Magnolia.
I don't know what that name is. What is it, Steve?
Magnolia, I believe. I'm not familiar with the artist, but
To me.
yeah.
All right. Well, so T. Clark, thanks for chiming in. I'm just kidding about your age. Like, don't get off my lawn. There's only 2 people in the chat or something right now, and you're one of them, so we can't afford to lose you too.
He leaves. He's like, walk away. Forget that Peter guy. I'm out.
And unfollow.
So it's like one of those things. You go to like a comedy club and you're like, this will be a fun night out with my girlfriend, and then you end up in the front row and you just get heckled. Like that's what just happened. I was the comedian, like heckling
Hey
somebody.
guys, tell me what you think. Oh, is that what you think?
Mike Magnolia is the creator of Hellboy. In 1986 here? Get out of here. Oh, you get out of here. You're too young. Oh, no, wait. No, stay.
I should probably leave
stay.
too then, so I'm 85, so.
Wait, maybe I'm the one who has to leave then. Wait,
There
am
you
I the
go.
opposite out?
I don't know. I
I'm
think
the old man here?
close, Peter. Peter, we got to be pretty close. I'm 45, so we got to at least be halfway there.
You were exactly the same age.
There we go.
1975. Yeah, there you go. All right.
So we're the old dogs here.
We are.
We got to learn some new tricks. That's the problem.
Ah,
Well, you
not
can like the art, huh?
$175
Okay.
tricks.
Oh, too good.
All right. So we do have I kind of dig the art here. All right, from the chat. Thank you. So there's one person that likes the art.
Yeah.
One at a
As long as the art fits kind of what you're expecting to get out of the game. I mean, I'm in a 50-play campaign of Kingdom Death, but if you look at the art in that book, it goes from kind of cartoony to just downright just disturbing. And so you never know. As long as it fits kind of what's going on in the game, maybe it works. I haven't played the game. I don't think it's built to be a cartoony, happy game, so I don't know if that's really going to fit the art. But if the only art we're getting is really the characters and all the monsters and everything are inside the app anyway. Besides, you're going to flip the character anyway.
Right. Better art on the other side. That's the thing they should have shown. They should have shown the other side with the good art. Like, that's where they should have gone with it.
Oh my God, the Picasso's on the other side of the card.
Right. Hey, I'd flip all the time, even if it cost me like lose half your life and get -5 on your next attack roll to see better art. I'd do that. I'd pay for that. Like I take that action all the time. No, I'm just kidding. Look, I don't want to offend the artist out here.
Right. No.
You know, the bottom line is it's not my style. Everybody's got their own style. It's all good. Steve showed it back to see if the art was different. No, it's not. It's the same on both sides of the card.
It is.
Honestly, I'm not going to be swayed to buy or not buy it based on the art. I mean,
Correct.
That's really, to me, not something that's going to break a game for me.
Like
I
will be more
not
inclined to
break.
buy a game if the art's like super good, but if the art's
Right.
like in that medium zone, it's not going to affect me honestly. So
Well, and that's what I think we're at here. I don't think we're really at terrible art. I mean, I know I've made a lot of jokes about the art here.
Yeah.
I don't think we're at terrible art. I don't think we're at terraforming Mars art, right? But I play that game all the time, and that's got clip art, legitimately clip art, and I still play that game all the time. So I don't think we're at that level of bad here. But I guess we're just so used to this realistic focus with Fantasy Flight, and maybe this is the new direction they're going. But I just love their art so much. In the past, that I was just, when I see, even normal levels of art in their games, I'm like, oh, I kind of wanted it to be like super good,
Has their art style now the world is this the what world is this? Like supposed to be like a Tirnoff world or something? Is that the name
It
of the
is
world it's
Tirnoff.
in? So if I remember right, the art style's kind of been similar through the whole Tirnoff thing. This isn't really something that should be too surprising and even on that level, a lot of their fantasy-based games I've noticed more are that type. It's not maybe as prevalent as this one, but like the Warhammer Quest game wasn't like super realistic art if I remember right. And the Heroes of Tirnoff, was that the other one? Is that the one they had? That was also just it wasn't cartoony, but it's again more in that vein than a realistic style.
No, you're right. You're right. And actually, the backgrounds here are what's striking me as I'm looking at the cards. It's not necessarily the hero art itself. It's almost the background that's very striking colors that really makes the card pop to some degree. But you're right. It is more cartoony in this Tirnoff universe.
Because I haven't, believe it or not, bought I actually bought the tabletop skirmish core game. I forget what it's called, but I remember it so well because I played it so many times that.
Are you talking about Heroes of Tirnoff? Or
I think so. Is that the one that? No, it's
No, Rune Wars.
Yes, I bought a Rune Wars core box thinking I'd play with a friend of mine. I still haven't assembled.
Do you have the old ones with the mountains, or do you have the newer one?
I have the very first ones that came out for it. Or no,
Yeah,
it was the newer ones. Is that the one that had the little dial-y spinny things that had that you'd take your actions based on 2 spin dials that you had to put down in front of your regiment?
It's been a while since I've played it. I don't remember. but I'll tell you, I played that game a ton when it first came out, and it's still a game that if I had anyone to play with, I would still play to this day because I really did like that game a
And I
lot.
thought it was when I first got it, I was watching like a couple of plays, but I was like, you know what, this really has a neat mechanic of how the actions develop for the people, and like you have to, it's almost like you have to try to outthink your opponent type thing. It almost had that X-wing vibe to it, but obviously completely in a different way, where you're trying to outsmart your opponent, but still hopefully get the advantage of coming in from the side and flanking and things like that. So I don't know, it looked very interesting. I've never played it.
Hold on, guys. Breaking news. Breaking news. Pumpkinhead 76. So someone close to our age, Bairnt, says, "Wow, I've been hearing about that art, but never really looked at it. I don't like it, and I don't think it's like the other Terranoth games." So there you go. Us old fogies don't like the art. You newfangled guys might like it, but
That
the fogies
Steve
don't.
guy. Oh man, that young Steve guy with his fancy blurred background that I don't know how to do because I'm old.
Oh, that's
Oh, I
just on
mean,
Skype.
okay. So look at this. You guys missed this because it was in the pre-show. But like, we're like, Steve has a radiant glow about him in this video. Like, he's so cool. The rest of his background blurs out. Like, I mean, he's just forefront, front and center here.
So just a heads up to everyone, that's a different video the feed they're looking at than the one they're seeing on stream. Just so everyone's confused, like, wait, what are they talking about? So
Really?
Oh,
yes.
Wait a minute. You made the video different?
Well,
So
I can't use
just
the same
us?
source in two places, so yeah.
So wait, it's just us that gets your radiant glow?
Yes,
So
it is.
people,
You get a special.
I don't know what I have to do. Hold on.
How do
Here.
I get your
I got
non?
it. I got it. So
Yeah.
look at Steve here. His radiant glow with the background. Yeah, no, I mean, I'm impressed. I don't know what it is. I asked him if he was pregnant because he's glowing to me. All right.
So,
Well, we've spent a lot
A
of
lot of
time.
I do have
A
a
lot
thing
of
I
time.
want to mention real quick about this 3D
Yep.
terrain thing. So,
Yep.
the one thing that excites me about the game the most is the fact that, yes, they have a lot of models for 3D terrain. Yeah, it's going to be like, hey, more miniatures to buy, blah, blah, blah. It's going to generate some excitement, right? But the fact that they have an action to interact with every piece of 3D terrain, that excites me. Like, it's something that I haven't seen much of in dungeon crawls at all. I mean, it's normally like a map, and like you can hide behind a box or hide behind a wall, jump on a ledge or something, but you don't necessarily go up to like a staircase and like kick someone down the staircase or something. Like something that ties to that object, and that excites me. And the fact that like each scenario is gonna be set up in this like multi-level three-dimensional terrain thing sounds really cool. Now, caveat to that is if it's a pain in the butt to like set up a terrain and then the mission tells you to set up another terrain, you got to tear that down and set up another one. It's gonna be a lot of downtime between that. Then no. I hope it's just like here's your map, here's your battle, go at it, and then rinse and repeat for another play down the road.
All right, so I'm going to break it on the news real quick. We've got a angelic Steve quote here in the chat, and we've got a I want radiant Steve.
Radiant Steve.
So, just so you know, you're desirable in your radiant form, Steve.
I shall try to get the radiant form in this Twitch next time for you guys. Then, so
yeah, and then we got a the terrain does sound interesting. So here's what I'll say about the terrain. I hope they don't ignore it, right? I hope it's part of it, right? Because Gloomhaven, you spend so much time setting up terrain, and I don't really feel like it's used very much. Now, some characters do use it, but I feel like the amount of effort to the amount of reward is not there. So I'm hoping even if you do take a while to set it up, because I say this, but it never really happens. Like HeroScape's a perfect example too. Like it takes 10 hours to set up that terrain, and then you play it for like 20 minutes.
Yeah.
So yes, you can set it up ahead of time. And I would be willing to do it if it's got a cool integrated element with gameplay. But at the same time, I don't want it to be so overbearing that it burdens down the game with a lot of rules that don't need to be there. So it's got to be impactful, but elegant.
Yeah. The rule for the terrain has to be like on the card that the terrain that's there explains it exactly. You can use it for doing what, and then, like I said, you're done with it. You don't have to go to rule book to find out what. Oh, this one's going to make you pierce 7, and you can then also throw 6. Like I don't know what that is. I have to look in a rule book. where if it had it on the card, like if something gets knocked into this, they take 2 damage. Oh, okay, good. Now I know what that does.
Or they had it in the app. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Or the app, which probably is what they're going to do.
Well, the other thing that's really cool, and I know we're gonna move on to other topics here in a second, but the fact that like you can do different boosts in the app is kind of intriguing. Being like, oh yeah, on the next 20 attacks against this character, it's gonna have 10% more damage. Like you just say yes to that, and the app will track that for you and just tell you what to do all the competition behind the scenes. That part is pretty cool.
All right, so Pumpkinhead 76, but it is $140. Interesting. Now, we talked about the $175 price point, so I can only assume that they're talking about the Radiant Steve. That is $140.
$140 for Radiant Steve. There you go.
So, donate $140 to the channel. Next time he'll flip his video feeds.
That's
you
right.
guys will get Radiant Steve, and we'll get normal ordinary Steve.
We'll get normal ordinary Steve.
There you go. Cool. Yeah. So I guess more to come on Descent, right? I mean, I think to sum up our thoughts, I think at least from my standpoint, I am intrigued, but not necessarily jumping on my pants again at this one, right? It's like I want to see more. It's a big commitment for price point, but I'm not sold at what I'm seeing yet.
All right, Bairnt, how about you? What's your final thought on it?
Final thought on it: I need to see more because my rules for dungeon crawlers is it has to have a mechanic that I'm excited about that I can't find in anything I own yet. And so far, it doesn't really reach that for me. There's not anything that's super jumps out at me that I'm like, oh, that's really cool. I'd love to have the dungeon crawler that has that type of thing going on. So we'll see how it goes.
So my final thought, and I'm going to keep it clean because we are a PG-friendly station, but you guys are full of S. You guys are both going to buy it. I'm going to buy it. We've been complaining this whole damn time, talking about how terrible the artwork, complaining about $175 price point, and every one of us is going to own it at the end of the day. And you know
probably
it,
right.
and I know it. So stop BSing everybody out there. We're all going to get it. Like, is the bottom line.
Yeah,
we'll see.
They'll probably share something else. Hey, what's up, Nick?
Here's another dungeon crawler I want to talk about coming up that actually has some cool mechanic that I don't see it once that I'm interested in. So,
hey, do you want to jump to that? Which one do you want to jump to?
Let's turn the page.
There's a Kickstarter right now that's out there. I'm sure if people are into dungeon crawlers, they know this one that's hit. So Steamforge game just shipped their Horizon Zero Dawn. And I got a playthrough coming up on Friday on One Stop, and then I'll be continuing it over on my channel, maybe at the table. But that game I was impressed with because I didn't think it was going to be good, and it actually is. It has flaws. Steamforge hasn't exactly been known for having 100% solid games, but that's okay as long as you can get through a little bit of the things that don't work. And
Bairnt's freezing.
Isn't that no?
Is he freezing on yours, Steve?
Yeah, he was.
All right, so keep going. Sorry, you're back. You're back.
Okay, so then nice. I'm excited to keep trying Horizon Zero Dawn. That being said, Steamforge actually has Bard Song out right now on Kickstarter. It's up at 616,000 as we speak, which means it's a dungeon crawler. It obviously is probably going to be fun. It's got, like you said, hundreds and thousands of miniatures, fantastic things. So the things that excite me about this game. It's got a system. It has a campaign, so that always excites me no matter what. That's supposed to be about 40 hours, they say. That's fine. Campaigns are great. The thing that excites me is one of the ways it's played is it's one of those ones where you flip the card, kind of like Shadow's Brimstone, where you don't know exactly what's coming next, but the board is only a certain dimension. So it's only like your table size, let's say. And then you're flipping your tile, your things, you're putting your cards out, and you're having to deal with what comes out on those cards. We've seen that 100 times. Now, the cool thing is the treasures for this game are actually placed out on the board before the cards are flipped over. So to get to that, you have to find a way to get to it through the dungeon by flipping over different cards and going along the path to find it. Does that make sense? Peter looks a little confused there.
No, it didn't make sense to me at all. Okay. But I mean, I get you flip over cards to get somewhere. So is it a map and you're hitting obstacles as you move forward?
It's a blank slate. It's a blank slate. You start with a dungeon tile in the middle, and then you say you're going to go out this door right here. Then you flip over the card for the hallway, and the hallway might be shaped like this, or you might want to draw one that's a T shape or something like this. And there's a treasure card, like let's say over here. And so you want to kind of go this way. Okay, so I'm going to send it this way, and then I get a room tile that's here. Oh, well, I didn't get to my treasure card yet, so I'm going to go to the hallway tile down here. Oh, now I have my treasure cards. The treasure's there. To get to it, you've got to try to build the dungeon to get to these treasures, and it also has to build the dungeon to get to your actual main objective, which is kind of cool. It's not just like you have to get a certain amount of spaces into the dungeon. You're building the dungeon to try to create the path to get to where you want to go.
Do you have to
So
land
that's something.
exactly on the loot too? I'm assuming you can't like extend beyond the board. That's the part of the puzzle, the Tetris puzzle.
Correct. From what I understand, from what I've seen and kind of heard about. The other thing that's kind of cool about this game is the as you're going through this, you're finding enemies. Of course, you have to defeat them because that's what dungeon crawlers. They also have these lurking enemies or these like random encounters too, and they use an actual full D&D set of dice, which is kind of neat. You don't see that very often either. And these turn from echo tokens to all of a sudden straight up huge monsters coming at you, and you do have the ability to shut doors behind you to stop these things from coming after you, and all of a sudden getting overrun in a room, which is kind of cool. Of course, there's big boss fights and things like that, and your character does progress like a normal campaign type things. You can buy new abilities, or you can upgrade abilities, or you can even spend a lot of experience to learn an ability that your character doesn't have. So similar to Madara, but not exactly. They have almost a clean slate, but they still have kind of a determined role. But if you didn't like that role exactly, you could be like a spellcaster that can wield broadswords or something, as opposed to just staves or something. So you can kind of customize a character to the way you want to play it, but it's still the character you have is what it is. And it's from 1 to 5 players, from what I believe. So there is a good amount of players. It also has the Madara, well, I shouldn't call it the Madara because other games have done it, random turn order every turn. So you don't know when you're going to go. So it's sometimes hard to get the tactics right. But of course, as you level up your guys and gain items and stuff, you can manipulate that track before it happens. So you get a little bit more like the thief can kind of start moving people around that, as opposed to having to deal with, oh, the big boss is going first. We're in big trouble.
Wasn't
So
this the game? I'm trying to remember exactly. We look at so many games all the time, but doesn't this one have like a super uber like boss guy that you basically can't even do anything against, and he's gonna come at some point from the starting area, so you gotta have to run to the exit or get out of dodge to avoid him.
I don't think so. I don't think that's this one.
Okay.
I don't think it has that mechanic in it. And I could be wrong. I could have missed that, but
nice
I
try,
think
Steve.
it had it.
No,
No fail.
not at all. Not even a little bit.
Fail.
You're thinking about tic-tac-toe. You're really
That's the
that's
one.
that's
Those
the one,
O's
right?
are
The
so
X
big.
is in the middle, and you're trying to put your O's on the outside so they get a line. So, as
It
a
is
designated,
cooperative too, which is kind of cool. And they have mechanics in there that if you're like one person's attacking, another person can play a card that kind of helps with an attack. So they do have a lot of co-op action with cards. And there's also these like fate tokens that can be shared by the group to decide who wants to use the fate tokens to help work within the group and things. So it's not just like, oh, I got my one guy and he's going to do his job and then I'm just going to sit here. I mean, you
and
are.
this advertisement was brought to you by.
Yes.
I can tell you're super excited about this one. You can feel it coming out of you. You knew 2 things about Descent. You knew like the price, and that was it. You didn't even see the art before. But this game that I've never heard of in my entire life, you were like all over it as if you were the designer yourself. You're like, let me tell you about my game, and like you're in it.
Again, price point is dungeon crawler. Price point dungeon crawler, $100. That's for your core game. Of course, if you want the super get a lot of things, $160. Very similar. Caveats. It's Steamforged games. There sometimes the rules, like for Horizon Zero Dawn, there's issues with difficulty. It's either way too easy or it's way too hard, depending on the type of mode you're playing. And that seems to be something that's been coming around a lot from the forums and stuff, which I've been reading, which is sad. I honestly haven't played a whole ton to know how bad.
This playtesting thing you speak of.
We don't
know anything about playtesting. We just
No.
put that crap out there, and people buy it because we have 500 miniatures.
That's right. And then people love it. That's what they love. They love the game.
Yeah, sometimes they love it, and sometimes they think it's a steaming pile.
I've got some duds, that's for sure. I'll admit it. And so I'm interested to see where this goes. I'd like to see a little more of the rule book and find out kind of what is going to happen with this one. Right now, it's the one I'm watching the most right now on Kickstarter and of course it's unlocking everything known to man because that's what Kickstarters do. But I don't know. It doesn't sound like either of you guys have ever even heard of this game.
Never.
No, I looked at it a little
Wow.
bit, but I wasn't getting down
And
into nitty
Steve
gritty
thought he looked
details.
at it, but he was looking at the tic-tac-toe
Yep,
Kickstarter.
he was
Yeah,
looking at Tic Tac
exactly.
with the X here. Oh, the boss is on the board. He's coming for you. Oh, over here.
No, he's
So,
just trying to block your 3 O's in a row, Steve. No, that was a totally different game. That's not a boss.
yeah, the caveat it's just T Clark's like, yeah, I like the caveat. It's Team Ford games. Yeah, no, it could be. Well, no, who knows? As we get, but I
I
did
think they
see.
also did the Resident Evil games as well.
Oh, did they?
I think they did those too.
I mean, they had beautiful miniatures. They had a cool looking board. They had a lot of tables set up at PAX U last year. Never got to play it, but they make the games look cool, and I mean, people back for that. So there's that.
And they get some really good IPs. I mean, for crying out loud, Resident Evil. They've got Dark Souls. They did the Dark Souls game. That's right.
Oh God, I'm sorry. Okay, yeah.
Horizon.
Oh, God. All right, now I know why I don't know anything about this game. Yeah,
Guild
the Dark
Ball.
Souls game was a painful waste of my life.
It was the card game and the board game. They did both.
Yeah.
So
Because they get pretty good IPs. That's what it was. One of the things.
That's true. I did see that. Do you have Tabletopia mod out? I'm not sure if it's out now, but that might be worth checking
They
out.
played on it. One of the videos they're playing on it. I went looking for it, but I didn't look real hard. I probably should do a bigger investigation on that and give it a shot. Maybe we can try it out, Steve, if we can actually figure out if it's there.
Yeah, it might be something if you guys are interested. We can even stream on Twitch if we can figure out enough, so everyone can see what's going on. I don't know. We'll see.
But that's my see now that's the Dungeon Crawl I'm looking at. Descent 3. I bet Descent 3 will be a more polished game when it comes out. It'll probably be a little bit more streamlined, but no. So far, this one looks kind of cool.
I do like the playtime.
So
45 minutes and 90.
About...
So that's pretty nice.
And that's per mission, and then you can have your campaign, of course, goes over that. I'm interested in what the campaign is. It looks like the campaign is just different ways of going through a dungeon. So I don't know how much that's going to bring depth to the game. Like one is you're going through a dungeon that has a lot more traps. Another one is you're actually doing a boss battle. Another one is you're playing. This is interesting. You're playing north and south. The other one you're playing east and west, which means the dungeon is longer and it's harder to get through because there's more of it. So we'll see kind of what that entails. I don't know what the story they're going to place behind these missions, but that kind of looks like the way they're going with it.
All right, so 2 things I wanted to jump in on. Number 1, I forgot. You said D&D dice. I forgot Descent is not just using D6s anymore. So to get back to that, I noticed D8s and D10s or D12s. Oh. So it's changing up their dice formula a little bit. I don't think it'll make that big of a difference, right? It just gives them more opportunities to get different variants in there. But when you were talking about the tile aspect, it interested me, and I think it could go one of 2 ways. I think it could be either really interesting and fun puzzle to try to get there, or the most frustrating thing you ever get in your life. Because if you don't get the right tile, right? I don't know if you've ever played Claustrophobia, but Claustrophobia works similarly, where you just draw these tiles and like you have to connect them, and you get the dead ends and things like that. And sometimes it's really interesting, and then another time you hit a dead end and you're like, well, now I got to go back 10 tiles just to be able to get out of this situation. And, it becomes not interesting really quickly as you're backtracking all the way through. So I think if it becomes frustrating to the point where it's like, I'm 1 space away, I should win this mission, but nope, I get a straight piece instead of the right turn that I needed. And now I got to spend another 30 minutes trying to get there. Yeah. And like, then my next one only turns left. Okay, what just happened? Now I'm like further away than I was 2 seconds ago.
I do know that the way the cards are played is it's there's 2 decks, and one is hallways, one is rooms. So it's hallway room. But like you're saying, you could go straight and you get a room. And you're like, oh, okay, all I have to do is go that way now. It's like, oh, straight. Okay, now I get another hallway. Okay, now I just keep getting the straight hallway. I'm not going anywhere. But I don't know how many are in there. I don't know.
Yeah, we don't know. And I mean, certainly the ability to let you turn tiles would help, because if you can turn tiles, then it'll give you more options. But it really depends on the layout of the tiles.
Yeah.
I mean, you can go 2 ways. You can make it super flexible where you can do whatever you want, and then what's the point of this cool mechanic? Or you could be very limiting and make it so that there is more of a puzzle, but then you could hit those frustrating situations. So I don't know what the right answer is. We design games, but you come up against these conundrums all the time. Like, which way would be more fun for the players? And it's a
Right.
hard call sometimes.
You can also get into a situation like Gears of War, that board game where because it has that exploration mechanic as well. You flip over a card and tells you what tile to place down. But at some point in that game, you can get into some weird situations where you can't actually make the board fit and
Mm-hmm.
work. So I don't know how they handle it here either. I'm assuming that's a
Yep.
possibility.
That happens in Shadows of Brimstone as well. If you keep getting like the wrong turn, you're like, I can't place the next thing.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah,
But-
another game I wasn't a huge fan of, but I'm sure you
Well,
liked it because it's got a good campaign.
It
apparently.
does, and the first my first was it 2 missions, or the first mission is actually on my channel. You can go watch it.
There you go. There you go. So go to Meet Me at the Table YouTube channel and see Bairnt play one mission of Shadows of Brimstone. He hated so much he never went back and just did
Actually-
Kingdom Death Monster from then on.
True. Actually, I've got something even better coming for you, Peter, that you don't even expect. I wonder if I should spoil it here. Sure, why not? Actually, Colin wants to try Shadows of Brimstone, so he's joining me for mission 2, and he and I are going to play it
All right,
together.
so there'll be 2 total missions, and Colin and Bairnt will both realize that they still hate the game, and you'll have 2 missions of Shadows of Brimstone.
This
But at
this
least-
could happen, but we'll see it. Oh, actually,
You'll-
I really enjoy Shadow of Brimstone. I actually having a great time with it.
Did
I'm
you?
ready to play the whole campaign, believe it or not. Yep, I'll play the
I mean,
fun
people
game.
would think I don't like dungeon crawlers, and I don't
Yeah,
like
you
games
don't.
like that,
I can tell.
but I do. I just like good
No.
ones with strategy and stuff.
Peter likes 3 games. That's it.
Well, that's not true. I like
The
just
Mind,
one. I
just
think-
one.
Mine just one.
My bad.
Marvel Alliance, that's his collection. I can see it in the background. There's only 3 games back there. No,
I don't even have a game here in the background.
no, I don't
Uh,
either. I have my stairs.
Hold on. Here's one that I got on the table right now. I don't know if this will be.
Oh, Forgotten Waters.
Okay,
How about
okay.
Yes.
that?
Yeah. So we're going to review that on the podcast in a couple weeks. Not in the news. I'm just throwing that in there because
No, that's fantastic. I can hardly wait to hear how you don't like that one too. That'll be pretty good.
So the artwork in the game is pretty crazy. No, definitely not.
So yeah, that's Bard's song. I know we kind of talked a little bit about it. I'm enjoying it, or not enjoying it. I haven't played it yet, but I'm enjoying to see what comes out of this. Again, it's a heavy miniatures game. I am worried about it being one of those unpaintable games. I talked about that with Will. If you have a game where you have 732 miniatures, you never know which one's coming out. It's just you can't paint it. It's just impossible.
true.
You don't want to
That's
paint
true.
every miniature just to flip a card and hope that you have the one that's painted. So
Yeah.
we'll see how again all that, and I think that's how this is going to work. We'll see how it goes. So there you go,
So,
Bard's
by the
song.
way, how's the video working for everybody? Like, is it clean now? Is it still pretty choppy? It chops every once in a while for me.
I'm getting the
so-
encoder message on my end, so I think it's just I'm trying to feed too much through at one time. I got just some settings. I don't know if I can do it on the fly here, so
All
Yeah.
right. Well, I mean, it would help if you didn't have a 286. And again, that's for us old folks. Like 286 with the old computer. Like, I don't know
The
what
one that made sounds when you booted up.
Right.
I still hear
Actually,
that
my
modem
new
sound in
computer
my
makes a lot of
head.
sounds.
So
Yeah, I got a like gaming computer now. Like, I was like, all right, my kids are getting older and they're taking over my computer all the time. So I got this gaming laptop, which is what I'm streaming on now, which is way faster than any desktop I ever had in the past. So like, I'm pretty impressed by it. But it makes fancy noises for me when it like boots up. It's like, doo-doo-doo, welcome, hello, and like I got neon lights coming out of this thing and stuff. One of
Wow.
these days we'll have to take a guided tour of my gaming laptop, and that'll be the 5-second Twitch video.
Look, lights.
Oh,
see ya.
that's pretty funny.
Hey, do you want guys to keep talking about dungeon crawls? Because why not keep it going? We can jump over to
You got another one for us, Steve?
Yeah, the one that Peter posted to talk about. What's this game? May have heard of Frosthaven or something doing well.
I've never heard about this one.
Oh
What's
no.
this game?
So this was a Kickstarter article.
You know, yes.
Yeah, so it wasn't specifically Frosthaven, although I'm sure a lot of the content of it is going to be attributed to Frosthaven. But really, I just wanted to get into a Kickstarter discussion overall and kind of talk about Kickstarter and where it has been, where it's going, and what's going on in this crazy 2020, right? So for context, for people looking in the future, we haven't seen people since March of this year, and it is now November. because of this crazy pandemic that we're living through. And so, I don't know. This article just talks about how Kickstarter has had its best quarter, the first quarter of this year. And even though there were 1,000 less projects in the first half of this year, so it went from like 3,800 to 2,900 new projects posted, it actually raised more money. Now, with the big caveat that Frosthaven is one of those projects, right?
Right,
I mean,
right.
so you're looking at the number one Kickstarter project of all time, but it was still the month that Frosthaven uh, completed was still the biggest month the Kickstarter's ever had. There were other campaigns. I mean, it's not like Frosthaven blew out some of those other campaigns by like $20 million itself. There have been other huge campaigns like Frosthaven, and still we've never had a month like the one that happened the month that Frosthaven came out. And I'll be honest, I'm looking at Kickstarter every day now. I mean, we cover a very niche, a very focused core group, which is co-op games. And there is new co-op games coming out every single week still. And people are buying them. And I mean, I don't know what to say. I don't know. Do you guys think that this is a matter of Kickstarter being the only outlet right now? And do you think co-op games are kind of like hitting a peak right now because people are stuck at home? So they're going to either play solo, they're going to play co-op with their family. You don't want too much contentiousness. I know, especially seeing the same people every day, you want to be fighting with them at this point in time. So maybe this is a heyday for co-op games right now with everybody stuck at home with the same people. Co-op and solo really might be kind of perfect for this audience right now. What are your guys' thoughts on that?
What do you think, Steve?
Yeah, it's interesting. Like I do think the co-op, especially the solo aspect of it, is very strong right now, right? Because we're not able to go out and interact people as we've been in the past, right? We're having to take this hobby we love and trying to find how we can still enjoy it with a different set of rules and environment, right? And I'm not sure how that ties into Kickstarter necessarily. Like, it would be interesting to look at to see how the cooperative and solo abo Kickstarter projects have done recently versus the competitive ones, right? And see if there is a shift in the funding there. But Kickstarter as a whole, for sure, getting back to that point, is doing an amazing job when it comes to the board and card game part of it. And I know looking at some of the other analytics for just the other projects coming on, it's not nearly as well. Like they're struggling in other areas. So it's interesting how Kickstarter has become such a center post for the hobby, board game hobby as a whole. And at least for me, there's a number of my purchases that I do through Kickstarter, and I'm curious if that's true for everyone else. Like, yeah, I could go to retail and buy this game, but I can just back on Kickstarter and it shows up when it shows up, right? I get first dibs of it, and it's kind of got this peace of mind going on. But at the same time, it's a risk, right? Because you don't know if you're
Mm-hmm.
gonna like it. You don't know what other people think about it, and so now I'm at the point where it's like, do I really want to put the money down now for this game I have some level of confidence over, or do I want to wait to retail where I can see the final product and judge it to have a better feel for it at that point? And I don't know. I'm kind of rambling onto
So,
other topics there,
Steve,
but
before we get over to Bairnt, has your Kickstarter backing gone up or down since the pandemic, do you think?
definitely down. But that is
Okay.
due to other external factors.
Okay. All
Just
right.
my financial situation at the moment.
So,
But
Bairnt, how about. Oh, sorry.
if it wasn't for that, it would probably maintain the same. So
Maintain the same. How about
yeah.
you, Bairnt? What are you thinking during this? Or just about this whole article in general? Like, Kickstarter, during the pandemic, doing better than it's ever done before.
I can see it doing that because of the pandemic. Yes. I think also you're going to notice another one that actually did really well in Kickstarters lately, and I noticed a lot of big pushes for it were gaming tables as well. That's another big push because I think people have finally the pandemic has kind of this gaming has been around, but you've been able to go out and play football, you've been able to play basketball, things like this. Now it's hard to do that. You don't have the people. So board games themselves, I think, have become more of something. And they, like you're saying, trying not to get divorced while you're being in a pandemic. You want to go more co-op is the deal. And
Right.
I think you've found now that is a strong thing. And I think people have started to realize, I think Frosthaven might have opened a door and Gloomhaven opened a door to a lot of people going like, what is this Kickstarter? What is this? And now that I know when I originally got into Kickstarter, I was like, oh my gosh, that game's cool. Buy. Oh, look at this one. Buy. Oh, wow, that one's kind of neat too. Buy. Because I didn't have the uh, pull. I didn't have the amount of games to pull from. There wasn't a lot for me back here to pull from at the time. So seeing all these cool games come up on Kickstarter with all these neat concepts, neat ideas, I was just buying. And so I think when like this Frosthaven, not just Frosthaven, but even before when the pandemic started, people starting talking about like, oh, hey, I got that on Kickstarter. Oh, I got that because of Kickstarter. Oh, look what just came to my door. I got this from Kickstarter. People start going, Kickstarter, what's Like, I think you're getting more people to even know what Kickstarter is. I know even at work when I'm talking board games, everybody glass eyes, and then I talk about Kickstarter and like, what is that? Like I had to tell every person at work what a Kickstarter was. Nobody even knew what it was. So I think with people reaching out to other people, telling them about it, that gets more people into Kickstarter. And then with this pandemic, I got nothing else to do except a puzzle, or I can play a game with somebody, or I can play video games. I mean, that obviously that hobby probably went up too. I don't know. I don't have any numbers on that. But I think that you're seeing that once people are figuring out what Kickstarter is, they want those games. So they're going to start buying almost any one of them they can right now. Sure, it's going to take a year, maybe half a year, 2 years, depending on what your game is to get it. But they're doing it because they want that stockpile. They want those games. They want to have a library to pull from instead of, well, I got these 2 co-op games I found at Target, Pandemic, and what's this other one? And then those are the only 2 they have, this Rise of the Red Skull. I mean, that's all I got. I don't have anything. Maybe they don't know
Hey
what
now,
games to play it is.
whoa. Don't start kicking on Marvel Champions now. Don't start kicking.
I thought I
And
could get it
actually,
through. I thought I could get it through.
I'm going to start advertising right now. We're doing a live stream this Friday, 10 p.m. Marvel Champions. Me and Terrence are getting on, and we're going to kick some Rhino butt. So
I'm probably there watching you guys.
yeah, and we may take on Claw as well. So we may take on 1 or 2.
So basically, I do think Kickstarter is excelling in this environment because you're seeing more people wanting to turn toward this hobby in general and trying to get a library in place for them. I think is something. Plus, kids coming up. I mean, and a lot of times I bought some of the games for kids. I got an 8 and a 10-year-old now. I was buying them 2 years ago to try to find games that I could play with my kid when he got to this age. So I think that's another factor of things going on. But I could just be making up stuff.
I mean, let's be honest, we're all making up stuff here. So welcome to the news that we are making up.
This is off the cuff discussion, right?
With Meet Me at the Table and One Stop Co-op Shop. Woo!
Making it up.
Making it up as we go along. So
speaking of making it up as we go along, I'm gonna mention something real quick. So T. Clark, he's throwing in some ideas.
That.
Oh, you were? Go ahead.
Okay.
You go ahead.
No, all I'm going to say is that I didn't scare him away. So you go ahead and tell us those ideas. So my old curmudgeonliness did not scare people away, even if I was heckling them in the front row.
Not yet.
Not yet. I'm working on it.
So
Keep coming at me, bro.
Yeah, we're kind of doing this free form and trying to get ideas. We won't have you guys involved in what we're producing here. So one part of interacting is trying to think of names for the segment. So T. Clark's thinking like, hey, he's playing around with a play on like, RPGs where you go to a town quest and go for postings there. So he's thinking like a news board or village news board for this title of this type of content. So anyway, let me know what you guys think of that, or if you guys have other ideas. So, and then after that, my wife's giving me crap because yes, we did back one of those game tables on Kickstarter. So I did do that big heavy one. So that's the biggest Kickstarter I've ever backed.
That was a great one too.
Yeah.
I mean, when I got into this hobby, that's what I did. I backed games, and then after I started getting them, I was like, I need a table.
Yeah.
And so that was the next thing I backed. I was like, okay, I got my light library. I'll keep growing the library, and I'm gonna get a table.
All right. So after I do my new PC live stream for 5 seconds, I'm gonna have a 10-second one and show you my gaming table that I built myself. So that'll be another live stream.
I'm excited to see that, Peter.
Don't get me wrong. You guys know me the way you do. What do you think it is? It's literally a piece of plywood on top of like a couple of other 2x4s with literally like posts for legs that I cut down. So this is awesome. Not, and I did staple felt down on top of it, but the felt is so bad and frayed at this point that I literally just have a tablecloth on top of it the whole time. So I did build it myself, but it is
Awesome.
literally covered with a tablecloth. Probably the worst thing you've ever seen. No one would want to play on this. I'm surprised it's lasted as long as it has, to be honest.
You are amazing. Oh,
Oh,
but
I'm
my
not
battery's
amazing.
going dead. Okay, hold on.
All right. So, Pumpkinhead 76, Marvel Champions, with or without Ronin. What do you guys think? Of course, we're gonna throw Ronin in there. Come on, you're not coming here to see us win. You're coming here to see us get our teeth smashed in with extreme prejudice. So yes, we're probably gonna throw Ronin in. We'll play. We're gonna start with Rhino, and we're gonna. I mean, the goal is over the next few weeks to continue this Friday thing. So Friday, 10 p.m. Eastern time. We're gonna keep doing Marvel Champions, starting at the beginning and working our way through. Maybe even through the entire Rise of Red Skull campaign and get into Kang. And who knows if it goes long enough, maybe we'll even get the newer expansions as they come along. So yes, to answer your question, our goal is to get our teeth smashed in as much as possible. So we will probably throw Ronin in.
Sweet. Ronin.
Well, I mean, we gotta keep up with the losing streak that we've been doing on this Twitch channel. So I
Now,
mean,
come on now. I didn't lose.
I mean, you get Colin and Bairnt in screwing it all up.
That's
What's
right.
up with that? Hey,
almost
look,
lost
look.
Monday night too. If it wasn't for my wife actually doing damage in our Marvel Legendary game, I did approximately 0 damage the whole game. So it's pretty bad.
I mean, that sounds about right. I've played games with you before, Steve. That sounds exactly like how it tends to go.
Yes.
See our Marvel Champions stream from Extra Life for seeing how that goes. Steve died. I didn't even realize it. I'm like, wait, what do you mean you dead? I was like, I just came over here to like help you out, and like next thing I know, Steve's dead. So yeah, no, I've played with you before. I know how it's gonna go.
Yeah, Howard says that's why they make large neoprene mats, Peter, for your table, so you don't need the felt. Which is true. I got
Look,
one I'm on right now. Actually, I can't hold it up because I'm on the computer's on top of it, but really the way to go for sure.
I mean, that sounds all fancy and all, but like, I'm just gonna put so for those of you who know me at all, like things that I've talked about and get obsessed about, I've gotten obsessed over Keyforge over time. And when you win tournaments and stuff like that, they give you these small neoprene mats. So I think I'm just gonna stack them up, and I'll have like 50 of them on my table, and like instead of one big one, I'll just have like 50 small ones, and it'll work. It'll work. I mean, I got to stick with my like ghetto layout here. Like I can't like like I can't class it up too much. Alrighty. So, any more news stories? Or I mean, we've been at this for an hour and a half now, or no, an hour.
An hour now. Yep.
Yeah, it's not too bad. I mean, the only thing only couple of things I had left was I know Portal. I've been into a lot of adventure games thanks to Colin lately. He has been pointing me in this direction, which is pretty cool. It's not out of my wheelhouse. It's just something I normally didn't jump into, but I do enjoy them. And I know a couple of things that like I found out I did my playthrough of Robinson, or no, not Robinson Crusoe. I did my playthrough of Robinson Crusoe coming soon. Oh, that'll be something. Nemo's War I just finished over on my channel again because Colin's already have a couple of them on One Stop, so I didn't need to flood it over there. But get it? Nemo's War. It's in the water flood.
Yeah, yeah, we got it.
That's
We got
good.
it.
Okay. It actually the
You know
creator.
what's great when you explain your own jokes?
Oh, I do it
And
all the time because I'm terrible.
and then not only explain them, but then compliment yourself. That was good, wasn't it? Like it's like self whatever, like self propping up. I like that.
That's right.
I like
I love it. Keep myself going. Basically, the creator actually caught me in when I posted to Board Game Geek. He did say that they're having the last expansion for it coming out pretty soon for Kickstarter in November.
Nemo's War.
Yeah, it's supposed to have a couple more. He's having 2 more. What do you call them? Oh man, like class thing. Like now I don't even know what they are. That's amazing. 2 more. What are they?
That's all right. It's not like we're live. Just take your
No,
time.
not at all. I mean, that's
Steve
the
and I'll
best
do
part
a
of this whole
dance and a
thing.
jig. Come on, Steve.
That's right.
Motives.
Thank you. Motives. Yes. The Journey's End features new motives. Oh, here. I want to just look at my notes. That'd be the best way to do this. Which, of course, then gives like 2 more upgrades for the Nautilus or whatever. But he's also putting in kind of an in-between victory mode, in between inconsequential and like you did well. because
It's good
when you
because
get
I never win
inconsequential.
that game. So
No, I got inconsequential every time, and I feel like
yeah.
such a letdown. It's like,
It's so true. Oh yes, I
I'm
mean like
inconsequential.
if I make it to the end
I
of the game,
mean,
I'm happy, you know.
Bring it
And
on,
then I
Peter.
look at the score and like I don't want to look at it because it's always disappointing. Like, oh yeah, you basically lost. I'm like, oh come on. So I don't even bother looking at it anymore. So,
No.
but no, Nemo's War is a fantastic game. I love that game
Yeah,
for a solo
it
game.
is.
It's
It was
so
it was
much
really
fun.
fun. I played it.
so do you guys only play it solo, or have you played it co-op?
No, co-op is no. Don't ever play the game
Well,
co-op. No, no.
interestingly enough, in the
I've
new
played it
Kickstarter,
3-player, by the way,
I'm sorry.
interestingly enough,
I'm sorry.
and that's the only way I've played it. So yeah, there's that.
interesting. He did say that he's actually working some new ways of using co-op because I don't think it's been the biggest hit.
I wonder why.
Yeah, and I think he's revamping it, and I think he's giving more to different players to do instead of just what it is.
Well, he also is
But
adding a competitive side to it too, which is
yes,
nothing
it
I ever
is.
wanted. So
No, we'll see how
Yeah,
that goes
I don't
too.
think that's going to be a hit for our community, but
No,
I'm sure somebody wanted it, or he
and
wouldn't have
it's
thrown it
a
in.
different market even. I mean,
true.
you got a market that maybe the solo gamer is like, hey, I've got a friend of mine who only likes to play competitive games like Monopoly. I'm going to show this one to him, kind of thing. Maybe not Monopoly, but that's
All right, so
But
I
you
just want
haven't.
to point out that we've got some hits here. So tune in. I don't know. I'm just going to make up a day here because it's not really going to happen. So tune in this Sunday at noon Eastern time for my table view with 50 playmats on it stacked up. And so we've got some comments about that. Haha, now that is something I'll tune in for. And then we also got, we'll call him 50 Stack Pete. And then another comment, 50 little neoprene mats just put together like a patchwork quilt, tabletop edition.
There you go.
So
That's
there we go. People want the 50 play mats as your tabletopper. So
that's right.
that's where we're going.
You gotta at least share a
the
picture
next
on
stream.
Discord now, Peter, of
That's
that.
right.
So
Yeah, throw a picture. The Skeeter wants to. So Skeeter. I'm going to say it wrong. Apologize. Is wondering what
Nick.
motives are. Motives are the way that you attempt to gain points in the game of Nemo's War. Every motive gives you a different style of playing the game, which is kind of like it's a really good way of having a great replay value in a game that really has the same core mechanics. You could have one where if you blow up ships, you get a lot more points than if you find treasures. Where you got another one where you go treasure hunting, but if you shoot ships, then you actually might lose a point or two. So it kind of gives you a different way of playing each. It gives you a different way of trying to win the game, which is pretty cool. I did anti-imperialist. I know Colin has done war, and he also did. I think it was adventure. I think is the other one he did.
Adventure's my
So
favorite.
yeah, and there's a whole bunch of different ones to do, which is pretty cool. I almost did the scientist one because I was like, well, that one looks kind of cool because that one was one where you really don't want to do a lot of fighting and stuff. So don't worry,
Now that's one interpretation of what Nick was saying. The other interpretation is you were looking for the word motives, and he was just trying to help you.
And oh yeah, that's probably what he's thinking, isn't he? Oh my gosh,
how I interpreted it.
By the way,
let me tell you all about this mechanic that you know everything about because I just couldn't remember it.
As you were floundering.
I was floundering.
Yeah,
oh my gosh.
Take it your way. And Steve's over there talking about tic-tac-toe. So we'll bring it full circle.
I was floundering like a fish out of water, Nemo's water. There you go, more water jokes.
So you haven't mentioned the.
Look at that.
I tried.
You haven't mentioned the best thing about this new content for Nemo's War. It's going to include a Kraken. That makes every game better. I'm sorry.
Release
the Kraken!
I missed that. It's in there. I gotta check that out. I missed that part. That's pretty sweet.
Yeah, it's supposed to be a new finale card. So yeah, that's the other thing that's really cool about this game is like it's supposed to represent a year. I think it's a year worth of time on the Nautilus. And at the end of the year, you have a random finale card which concludes the game. You don't know when's going to come up. But it's going to be within the last X number of cards. And so some of these are pretty radically different. And just the fact that like you can face off against a Kraken at the end sounds pretty epic.
Yeah, that's right. He's adding like 5 or 10 new ones in there. So I forget the number, but yeah, he is adding new endings. That's right.
I'm also curious if this is all going to fit into the box because they have a really nice box with a great insert, and I don't know. So we'll see what happens.
That is, and you're right, Peter. No, I'm a moron. He was helping me find motives.
He was right. Yes.
I think I saw something in the comments of that he It should all fit. And on top of that, if you have the second edition, I think he's offering just an upgrade for it. So if you did still buy the second edition, you can get just what's coming for this new Kickstarter instead of having to buy a whole new core game, because it is actually going to be like a new edition of it. Is from what I understand.
That's
Yes.
cool. Yeah, I mean the solo community loves it. Although they just did the top 200 solo games of all time. Do either of you guys know where that fell in the rankings? I gotta assume it's pretty high.
Hope so.
I don't recall because there's 200 games, right? But it was mentioned at some point in that. I don't remember when. I was listening to recently, actually. But yeah,
All
fantastic
right,
solo
so,
game. Definitely recommend it.
So come here for all the news, except we don't know most of it. So
Well, off the cuff, that's what makes it difficult, right? So.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, anything else, you guys? Anything from the chat you guys want us to mention real quick? Otherwise, we're probably close to wrapping up here.
I mean, with the delay that we have on the chat right now, it's going to be 45 minutes before we get a response to your question, and then we're going to think they were talking about something completely different at that point. So
That's
it'll
okay.
be all-
That gives you time to show off the table now.
All right. Well, so here's
put 'em
my
on the
table
spot. Put 'em on the
now. So here's my table. Here's my tablecloth. Okay. So here's not Nemo's War, Forgotten Waters set up on my table, kind of. Yeah. So we haven't played yet. So getting down to the table itself. So going down, 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 down. There is my wooden leg here. That is, like I said, just a post. And oh, look at this. Hey. Random screw on the outside of the table. So, and then we got this green felt thing here. Now, there's hairs on this that are really tiny. I don't know if you guys can see those. Like, I haven't had a dog in a while. Oh, look at this. There's some tears in the corner here. I don't know if you can see these.
That's
So
screw.
that screw. Yeah, that was a bad idea. So, yeah, we're going to put the tablecloth back down. And, yeah, that's...
Oh, my gosh. Highlighted the entire stream.
So, yeah, if you guys want me to build you a table, I have experience. I have done this before, and I know you can't tell, but I did that myself. I built that myself. I know you thought it was like, wait a minute, is that like a one of those what are the high end ones called? The like not tabletopper, but one of the
Kickstarter? Are you on Kickstarter? You can make a Kickstarter.
Yeah. We need a new Kickstarter. One stop table shop.
One-stop table shop.
Coming at you. And I build them all myself, and I don't ship them though. You'll have to bring a van to my house to pick it up, and they don't disassemble. So you're just gonna have to put the whole thing in the back of your pickup truck and take it home. And if it doesn't get weather damaged on the way home, don't worry. I've got an app for that. We can just leave it out in the rain or whatever else.
Oh my gosh, too good. Oh, you're amazing, Peter. I tell you.
Well, I think that's definitely the highlight of the stream.
Yep.
So
I don't think you can top that. I
can't
think
top it.
So.
All right, so we don't have any other news, but they're still quite a bit behind. They're still we're still talking about Descent on the feed. So I think it's gonna be a while before they catch up.
That is pretty good.
Cool. Okay.
Well, thank you so much, everybody, for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for. I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you guys like it, let us know. We'll do more of it. If you guys don't like it and want to change the format, let us know. We just thought we'd try something different. That would be kind of fun to be kind of off the cuff and kind of share our thoughts as in a more informal setting.
And besides, I get to hang out with these two guys. What could be even better?
I can think of a lot of things better.
Playing on my game table could be better. Because playing on my game table is like an adventure. You never know when the table's going to flip itself. I mean, really, like at any point, you could be 3/4 of the way through the game. You barely touch the table, and boom, that's it. Like your whole game's on the floor. So
too fun.
Cool. Well,
thank you guys. Thank you all for joining us. This was a fantastic experience.